CP.
Are you serious?
He's gone. 40, 30, Portis all the way. Touchdown Redskins, 64 yards.
26 minutes.
He's pretty sharp. You know, he'll coach you up on the Miami guys and everything else. He's kind of fun to be around. Got an opinion too.
You know, I've been blessed to have the opportunity to go out and be myself and say the things that I say. And, you know, for the outside world, they can deal with it how they deal with it.
26 minutes with Clinton Portis. CP. Teach him something.
Welcome to 26 Minutes, episode 33. We got a special guest in the house, joined Jake Prince Rifles, Monica McNutt, who has her ringer on because basically she's going to deliver some news on this show. I don't know if it's going to be good news or bad news, but we're going to get the news from Monica.
I didn't know we were going to do it on the show. But anyway,
I'm
go ahead.
almost positive you all see our guest right now, although this is episode 33, and it would have been great to have him for episode 32. Back when he played fullback in high school, he wore number 33. Edgerrin James, number 33, the fullback, is joining us on the show. And we're going to jump right into it. EJ, we got the draft coming up in less than 10 days. A lot of young men lives are going to change. What would be the expectations leading up to the draft for the guys that know they're going first round, for the guys that's going to drop in the draft, and then for the guys that will never play football again?
Well, I think with the draft, there's so many unknowns. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. It's all speculation. It's all the things that they're reading. Everything's going to become a reality within those days. So all the lies that's been told, everybody that's been misled, the truth will start to come out. And that's what's really going to happen. That's when the guys going to really get to see, you know, who's going where, what's going to happen, and then life starts after that. But you can't plan anything until that time.
So for the guys that slip in the draft and for the guys who's been lied to and fall in the draft, how do they recover and how soon do they have to recover? What's the mindset for those guys?
Well, I think first it has to happen first. You know, I think human nature is to survive and adjust. So we'll adjust, you know, to the situation. But until the truth comes out, you know, they're kind of sitting in limbo, you know. But once it happens, then I think everybody usually make the decision that's best going forward. You know, they're going to make a decision best as far as, you know, financially they'll see where they're going to be going, you know, as far as where they're living and all the things that they've acquired. You know, they'll say, hey, some of them have to take some of those things back. So reality is set in once everything's in place.
That sounds like a lot of work. Is it fun, though? Like, how do you enjoy this process? Because for a lot of guys, it's the culmination of everything that they've worked toward.
Well, I think it depends on where you're sitting at. You know, you have some guys that, you know, that go up. You know, their draft status goes up. So they're sitting in a better position because they didn't come in with all these high expectations. And then you have guys that status drops. And those guys right there, that's the one where disappointment, and you see the guys, you know, they're gonna come back and say, hey, they should have drafted me. They're gonna pay for not drafting me. It's all cliche because there's a lot of disappointment. So it's one of those things where it depends on where you're sitting at, whether you can say it's good or bad.
So let me ask you this, because we've had a lot of conversations on this show about the role social media plays in an athlete's life. Now, whether you're a pro, collegiate athlete, how much more intense is this whole process compared to when y'all were going through it now because of social media?
I think social media actually hurts players more now because social media shows things that are irrelevant. You know, and the social media actually it paints a picture of a person that may not be what the team is interested in. You know, so I think social media actually hurts the player more than help them. I think it helps once you get established and you start with your brand and you start building who you are. But initially, before the team you go to or any of that stuff, when it comes to the business side of it, you know, these clubs, they only want to see the things that's going to actually help the player get in position to help their organization, not so much as lifestyle.
So, Edgerrin, we got all these pre-draft visits going on. All these prospects are in every NFL facility. And I don't. Is there a benefit for the prospect doing all these visits, or is it just the team really just trying to get all the information they can out of you? You know, did you go on those visits before the draft and meet with all these different teams?
For me, I really didn't move as much. I only took probably one.
Okay.
You know, I only took one because, once you start understanding the whole process, it's just it takes a lot of time away from your training. It takes a lot of time away from what you have to do to actually become the best player. But some players, if you're going to be a top pick, if you're going to be number 1 and number 2, and it's the ball club that has those picks, some of those you have to really consider to say, okay, yeah, I'll go visit those. And for me, I was rated as one of the guys that would be one of the top picks. Didn't know where I would get drafted, and I end up. And the Philadelphia Eagles had, it had like the number 1 or 2, that top 3 or 4 picks.
Right.
So I took that visit, So you have to pick and choose which visit to take.
So when you look at the situation, Ricky Williams came out in the same draft. Ricky Williams had all the hype in the world. You were coming off of a 300-yard game against UCLA, and Coach Sal said to me, he's going to go in front of Ricky Williams. I'm like, no way in hell he's going to go in front of Ricky Williams. All of a sudden you get drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, and you partner with some of the best players that ever touched the field, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison. Later you get Reggie Wayne, another teammate from the U, Dallas Clark, your tight end. So you partner with these guys, and you all go on to have an outstanding run in the AFC, getting to the title game, but never winning it with you. Although they gave you a ring, you left the year that they won. How was that, growing with those guys and looking back to say all Hall of Fame caliber careers? How was that experience?
Oh, it's a great experience because you get a lot of like-minded people together. And once you get a lot of like-minded people together, the things that you can accomplish, there's no ceiling to it. And then those are the type of people you want to be around. If you get a bunch of guys that don't have that hard work, they're not working hard, they're not into the sport, you're going to get a mixed bag. But when you get guys that are all on the same page and everybody reaching a common goal, the end result is always going to be something positive.
So I just slid in Hall of Fame. I know this isn't a topic that you discuss often, but when you look at this guy, when you look at the team, you go from your head coach to your quarterback, and how many guys will someday go into the Hall of Fame. You look on the defensive side of the ball, you got Mathis, you got Freeney, Bob Sanders, if his career wouldn't have been cut short, some of the best players to play on the defensive side of the ball. But most teams get team accolades. Hall of Fame is like a team accolade. You got Harrison in, Peyton is in, Reggie is going to go, you're going to go. I'll be glad when you go so you can get out my way, just to mention that. But you're going to go. You look at all the guys that go. Do you think it's the process of getting into the Hall of Fame, which often if you look at the Cowboys, you look at the Steelers, you look at all the players that they have, it's teams. It's rare that you get individual at such a high level to make this achievement.
Well, I think when you look at it, it goes down to the position. You can be a receiver that doesn't play in big-time games or don't make it far, but you have a bunch of stats, because that position right there, you can actually get in the Hall of Fame without actually going to the Super Bowl and doing all those things. So it goes based on your position. Barry Sanders, he never won, but he had, Barry Sanders was one of the greatest all time, and he was able to do things. So it's all situations. Sometimes you have a team that has a group of guys that are actually good, and they're all raising each other's level up, because, it's actually tougher than people actually realize, because it's only one ball. When you're on a team where you have a good running back and you have multiple receivers, you have to make everything count. It's not as easy as people would actually think, because you don't get these extra opportunities, And then when you're on a good team, you don't play the full game all the time. A lot of times the game is cut short. You get blowouts, you get the winning, and then once you start playing for the playoffs and to make the playoff run, week 15, week 16, those games don't count. So your stats are actually less than people actually realize. So it's a lot that goes into it. I think it's all situational. I think it's position based, and as players, you have to be surrounded by a group of guys that understand that, hey, when my time comes, I have to make it count, because I may not get that opportunity again.
Speaking of making it count, Jake, make it count.
Whoa, we didn't say pay the bills this time?
Make it count.
Mixed it up.
Guys, helping people improve their lives is what should drive business. That's the belief at Koch Industries, which employs more than 65,000 people across America. The team at Koch works together to meet the world's changing needs in transportation, medical care, water filtration, household goods, energy-efficient building products, and everyday technologies, all while consuming fewer resources. See the innovations firsthand at kochindustries.com.
26 minutes, episode 33. We're joined with the legendary Edgerrin James.
Do you plan?
Edgerrin James.
So, do you plan to have Edgerrin spill any dirt? Because you always talk about the U. We only get your perspective from y'all's days
Clinton's
at the U.
perspective.
We need to mix it up. We need to
Mix
get
it
some
up, whatever
stories from EJ.
We got him in-house, so you can mix it up. You can do whatever you want to do on this show.
All right, so he always talks about how you guys had so many weapons that he didn't have to play that much. And so, right, you felt like, to a degree, sometimes you were overlooked for awards because people were like, his numbers, but you just didn't need it. What is, your biggest, best memory of playing on a team that was so loaded and so successful?
No, the thing about it is practice. Anytime you're playing with teams that are loaded, practice is never dull. That's the most. That's like the best part of being on a good team, because when you play on a team where you don't have that many dominant players, practice is kind of boring because you separate yourself from everybody. But when you have a group of dominant players, you have to bring it. The defense is as good as the offense, and that's what makes it fun. Because when you playing college football on Saturdays, you're not playing against that talent that has all these guys that are capable of really hitting you or hurting you or doing some damage to you. But when you're at the University of Miami, you look across the field, it's somebody that you wouldn't want to be playing against every day, and it actually preps you for the weekend.
So football's a little different though. Y'all played the same position. Who's better, EJ?
Portis.
Are you serious? You're not supposed to say that like that.
I always defer.
Okay, that's the humble brag thing. But in what ways did y'all push one another?
You know what's crazy? Over my career, EJ always saw stuff in me that I never even really cared about. Like, he used to call, man, you can go for 2,000. I'm like, man, I'm coming out of the game. I'm not setting 2,000. He's like, bro, go for 2,000. I see it in you. But it wasn't something that moved me. For me, it was more, I'm used to having Frankie G and Willis, having a loaded team, and you want to come out of the game. Where most people that didn't come up in this opportunity, like colleges, when you look at a lot of these colleges that get star players that play the entire game, you look at some schools, Florida State quarterback still in a 40-point blowout, just putting up stats that don't matter. Whereas you get to the University of Miami, you like, man, this game done. I'm sitting over here cracking jokes and ready to play around, on to the next week. It wasn't like that, I'm going to pad my stats against a lesser opponent. Now, when it was time to play, you think of probably his best college game. UCLA was ranked number 1, and it was the final game of UM season, and he goes for 299. UM not even ranked, and they win the game. So when you look at games like that you raise your level of play, your expectations, the spotlight is here. Now I'm ready to take over, compared to I'm playing Temple. I'm trying to convince coach, man, take me out first quarter. I got 1 carry for 6 yards. I'm averaging 6 yards a carry. Coach, take me out.
Well, Clint, we've talked about this a little bit. Both of you though, are there moments where you're like, God, I just want to be back in college right now and running the ball like crazy?
Nah, not me.
Yeah, that check. You're looking forward to that check now.
Nah, for me personally, I look at it like, I had to be crazy to be doing all that. But you look at it different. You start looking at it different. At one point in time, that's your lifestyle. That's all you know. But then once you get away from it, like me, I love being in business. I love to kind of bring the youth up. And so I'd rather see those guys do things versus me saying, dang, I got to be out here. And we train in 100 degrees weather, and when I see a lot of these kids, I'm like, it just doesn't make sense for you to train in 100 degrees weather, but you're not getting your grades. It's not adding up. It's like if I'm going to be in 100 degrees weather, I'm going to have everything covered because I'm going to give myself a chance. I'm not going to have something that I'm doing this right over here, but then over here I'm not doing this right.
Hey, now you said that, but you didn't go to class that much.
You've grown. This is growth.
This is the maturation process.
I never had classes with them, so they don't know what I did.
So look, let me ask you this though, because you just talked about, obviously you've had a heralded career collegiately, professionally, and now you're in business. What are your thoughts on this conversation about student athletes, particularly in revenue generating sports, basketball, football, being paid?
Well, I think you have to find some type of balance, and I don't think people understand that the athletes had a disadvantage when they make it to the real world, you know. So that's one thing that hurts the athlete, because when
Wait, how so, EJ?
Because you know have you ever seen a college player's schedule?
I played in college, yes.
So your schedule is 6 a.m.
It was
all
wild.
the way till night. You know, you're occupied with football.
True.
You know, and then say you don't make it, you're behind in the real world.
Agreed. Okay.
You know?
Agreed.
So those are the things that
Just because your life is so
You don't have time for
free,
nothing.
you don't have nothing. Like you,
Yeah.
like an athlete is less prepared for the real world. The athlete that doesn't make it to the NFL or doesn't make it to be successful, to get financially compensated, they're not equipped for the real world as much as the normal student.
They're not equipped in the way of opportunities to do internship, certain classes that
That's what I'm saying, the workforce.
Right.
I'm sorry, as far as becoming somebody that can get a job, that can go through everything, you have to think. With us, right, we're in the pros, right? And ever since you start Little League, and Little League, you know, you go to the doctor, they come, you go at one time, every group, you go see the doctor. You know, you get high school, you got the doctor, you have the same thing. You get to the pros, you know, you go through a back door, they come in, you see the doctor, this and that. Then all of a sudden, you're out of the pros, you go to the doctor. Now you have to sit in that chair.
Yeah.
You have to fill out that clipboard, you have to fill out all that paperwork. And you know, the first couple of times is going to catch you off guard, because you have to think, for 20 years, you've done it one way.
As an athlete,
and then
yeah.
now you're not even equipped to just say, okay, I'm going to the doctor, I have to sit in here 45 minutes, an hour, I have to go through all this stuff, and then I get a chance to see the doctor. You know, you have to fill out all this paperwork when all this stuff was done for you.
Yep.
You know.
What about, so I can remember graduating, and as much as I was excited to get to the next thing, it was sort of an identity crisis, because it was like, I've always been an athlete. Like, I've always taken so much pride in that. But what about the skills that are the intangibles?
Transferable.
Yeah, like,
But
there you go.
You know, you look at these skills. The skills that's transferable.
All good.
As an athlete, like, I always feel like it's hard for networking, because as an athlete, you see these people and they come, they want to be around you, they're trying so hard, but for most legit men, you like, those are butt kissers. Like, you never grew up in the situation to kiss butt. So networking to a solid individual becomes hard. You don't know how to go and play their game. Like, I don't know how to go and sit and have a conversation about nothing because you say you like me. But if I walk out of the room and the next man walks up, then he's your favorite player. Like, one day, me and EJ was together, and a guy was like, "Oh, Edge, you're my favorite player all time." And all of a sudden, EJ walk off and he runs to me, and I became his favorite player. We were sitting around laughing about it, like, you know, if Frankie G or if Santana or Reed or someone was in the room, then they're his favorite player.
Right.
So, you know, we don't know how to adjust and play that game. But you said something important about branding yourself, as I have on the one hat. Speaking of the timing, coming off of Nipsey Hussle, where everyone is so aware and influential in their own community, you're someone that's been influential in the community in the state of Florida and everywhere else for quite some time when it comes to the youth movement, raising youth the right way, trying to keep guys off the street, giving back to the community. How do you explain that for someone who doesn't look for the attention or get credit or headlines for all that you do, but doing it for the right reasons, coming from your heart, like wanting to see guys make it out of impoverished neighborhoods to success?
I think as you go along this journey, you see things and you see situations where you wish that you had this, you wish that you had that. And I think that's where it all stems from that. It stems from the fact that, man, if I had this person in my corner, you know, and now it turns to, I'm going to be that person that I wish I had. And then you actually see so many people that have potential, but they don't have people that see potential in them. And so they kind of just wander and follow the crowd. And so you try to grab the ones that actually going to listen, the ones that are actually, seeking somebody. And that's the thing you do. You can't just fall for anything anybody says. You look for the ones that are actually seeking somebody, that's looking for somebody that you can just give them some words or give them some direction. Most people need direction. And you give them the right direction, they're gonna take things to another step. Some people are gonna stop at certain points, But it's one of those things that's like it's always said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When you're doing things and you see people doing things, then okay, we can have a conversation. But I'm not gonna try to make you come up to this level. You have some people that they're thirst for knowledge, they're seeking, they're looking. Those people, they stand out. And if you're around enough, you'll see those people. You'll see those guys, you'll see those kids, and you're like, man, this kid right here, and you start learning about the kids. This kid lost his father. He don't have a father figure, He's looking for somebody. I have kids, sometimes my kids don't appreciate what they have, but the kids that come around kind of put them right back in order, because the kids will say, man, you don't know what you have. You don't understand the type of father that you have. I wish I had a father like this. And in the summertime, I have 150, 200 kids we deal with for 6 weeks straight. And you should see the kids, they don't want to go home, and they want to all be wherever you're at, and they want to be around it because they're seeing something that they don't normally see. And for me, I've always embraced it for the simple fact that, this is another way to speak to my kids, So that even amplified it for me to be able to say, these kids right here kind of put my kids in check, because the things that my kids don't appreciate, let me give it to this kid right here. And then next thing you know, you see your kid gravitating to it. And as the years went on, my kids gravitate more and more to me, because you're dad, and to them, to the other kids, you're a coach or you're a mentor. But then your kids start looking at you totally different, because they're saying, man, this kid doesn't have a father, or this kid parents can't do this, or they're not able to travel or see these things.
So how fulfilling do it become when you see one of those kids make it and to get that thank you?
Oh man, it's a great feeling. Like right now we have kids that are in the NFL, and the thing that I've always told them from the beginning, I say, look, I never charge nobody to do anything. And I always told the kids, I say, look, if you ever make it, the only thing you do is the same thing I'm doing for you, you do it for them. And if you ever have time, always stick your face in and stick to the routine. And that's what you get. You get the guys, they come back. And that's how you build that somewhat of a chain reaction. You start doing it, they start doing it, and it becomes the routine. You come back, you make sure you lift these kids up. You ever see somebody that needs something, or if you see yourself in somebody, you make sure you extend that hand to help lift them up.
I love that.
I imagine you probably have conversations with your kids too about the way that you're approaching some of these kids in your camps, right? Versus the way you speak with them. And maybe they need a different tone of voice. They need a different kind of mentoring than maybe you have to give your kids, just because they're on different levels, right?
You speak to all of them the same way. Like, that's the difference. Like, and he gets an opportunity to answer this. I feel like you treat other kids the same way you treat your kids. It's the same rules. It's nothing different. Like, it's no leniency for my child or for another child, and I'm hard on my kids.
No, sure. I'm saying, but I just mean, from the fact that because they come up with such a different perspective, there are things that you probably have to tell them that you haven't even needed to tell your kids, and maybe they see that and like, well, he's spending so much time with this guy, or why am I not getting that same kind of, I don't know. I'm just curious if that's something that you run into.
I get where you're coming from.
For my kids, it's, when you're out here at this block, hey, I'm coach. This is where I am. I don't care if you're my child or whoever it is. This is the way we do things, But the things that change the dynamics of everything is, you have to take the good with the bad. Some of those kids have more freedom to do things that I don't approve of, So you have to find the balance. You have to say, okay, yeah, these kids, they like the fact that I'm able to do this and do that, but they don't like this stern part of me that says, hey, look, we have to do this, we have to do that. So my kids, that's when you pull your kids to look, we don't do that, you know? Like, their parents allow those things, but we don't allow those things, and this is why, you know? And so you go back and forth, but it's like you give a little bit, then you get a little bit. You know, you go back and forth with them. And with those other kids, you know, you make sure you let those kids know, like, look, hey, that's the way your parents doing it. I'm not going to never go over top of your parents. But the only way you could, like, if the kids want to spend the night or they want to come over, like, this is the only way you could do it. You know, it's the only way you can do it. And it comes to grades. It comes to taking care of your responsibilities, you know. And so you start holding those kids accountable, you know. And you hold those kids accountable and you hold your kids accountable. And the thing that I do with my kids is when I step away from that is we study a lot. I make my kids read. I make my kids, you know, learn a lot. I try to teach them as much about the real world as possible. So they're going to be advanced from that standpoint, you know. But you utilize the other kids to kind of reel your kids in to say, hey, look, man, you better appreciate what you have, you know.
Well, I'm going to hold everyone accountable, and you get an opportunity to pay some bills, Monica.
Jake be cheating. I got the highlight this time. Multiply your excitement and your winnings with the Times the Money family of scratchers from the Virginia Lottery. The family features games at price points from $1 to $30 and over $345 million in cash prizes in the whole family. 2 times the money has a top prize of $4,000. 100 times the money has a top prize of $7 million, and each game features the chance to find multipliers. Find a 100 times symbol and a 100 times the money, and you multiply your prize by 100. Think about money multiplied. That's what the Times the Money family means. Check out the Times the Money family at your lottery retailer today.
Have you heard about Creighton Farms, the private club community that's home to the Redskins? Creighton Farms is just 20 minutes from Dulles, but a world away. On top of its award-winning Jack Nicklaus signature golf course, pools, tennis courts, and other resort-style amenities, you'll find custom homes and villas that are simply extraordinary, starting at $1.5 million. For property and legal information, visit CreightonFarms.com, or, better yet, visit Creighton Farms.
Are uninvited pests ruining your plans? Let PMSI, the pest control partner of the Washington Redskins, handle it for you. Call today for your free inspection, and they'll work around your schedule to provide you the best solution possible to defend your home territory against pests of all kinds, including mold. Visit mypmsi.com for the game plan to control the pests on your home turf. That's mypmsi.com.
This is Rick Goslin with the Talk of Fame Network. This NFL season, FanDuel has more ways to win than ever before. New Beat the Score contests pay out everyone who hits a certain score. Now it's easy to find your friends and challenge them to play head-to-head fantasy contests for cash or bragging rights. New players, try FanDuel today and get a $20 bonus when you make your first deposit. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Rick.
New users only. Bonus not available for withdrawal. State and age restrictions apply. For eligibility rules, terms, and conditions, go to FanDuel.com.
John Riggins here with a little tip. If you need a mortgage, take my advice and use the pros at McLean Mortgage. Buying a home can be stressful and filled with hassles. The experts at McLean Mortgage understand what an important financial investment your home is and will seamlessly guide you through the process to successful home ownership. Smooth, amazing, easy, professional, and first rate are just some of the reviews from their tens of thousands of homeowners, including me. I trust McLean Mortgage, and I hope you will too. Check them out at McLeanMortgage.com.
Hail to the Redskins this year with gear from the official Redskins team store. From Nike player and personalized jerseys to a great selection of new era hats, the Redskins team store has you covered. Plus, we have an amazing variety of youth and ladies apparel and everything you need to throw the perfect tailgate party. And we have signs, flags, and collectibles for the perfect Redskins man cave. So hail to the Redskins in style at any of our 4 Redskins team stores or online anytime at RedskinsTeamStore.com.
If you have atrial fibrillation, you know it can be difficult to treat successfully. Inova Heart and Vascular Institute in Fairfax is a leader in AFib treatment using specialized technology and expertise. This helps to more precisely target and treat rhythm irregularities that others could miss, helping to restore your heartbeat to normal. Give your heart the benefit of care Visit InnovaHeart.org/AFib to learn more and to find an Innova physician. Innova. Join the future of health.
Have you been fumbling on your diet during tailgate season? Well, it's a new day for a new game. And White House Foods has the solution for you. With the vinegar beverage of choice, Detox. Packed with lemon, honey, cinnamon, and apple cider vinegar, this organic, non-GMO verified product is the play you need to get your head back in the game. From our orchard fields to your football field, White House.
I'm trying to meet that boy Clinton Portis, though. They say that boy, they say he's smooth on his feet. I'm trying to teach him something.
Teach him something.
Teach him something.
Jake.
I guess you heard that, Jake. Soon you'll be back to reading both of these, Jake. No worries. Monica is, she's on another level right now. As we wrap up 26 minutes, episode 33, segment number 3 with Edgerrin James in house. Monica, I don't think y'all understand how much we need to appreciate Monica at this time. Jake, it's going to be me and you, man. It's coming down to me and you. I see Monica on NBA TV. She talking with Karan Butler. Like, I see you. I pay attention,
Okay, wait, your thoughts on Karan's hairpiece?
He better stop that crap.
You saw it?
And I like Karan. Like, Karan is my man. You better stop that man. That man hairpiece. No. Karan needs to go back to the bald head. Karan, my man. I like Karan.
One of those like Samuel Jackson.
Did
Man,
you
he
not
had
like
on
the
the
piece, or are you not for man weave?
Yeah, I'm not for. I did not like the piece. I did not like the piece, and I'm sure you all didn't see it. But that's not Karan. Like, you're used to him having a bald head. Go back to it. Like, that
Brian
hairpiece.
Urlacher changed his look up.
Yeah, but Brian Urlacher, like, in Brian Urlacher community, no one is even really paying attention. In Karan Butler's community, everyone is paying
His kids
attention.
were screaming.
Like, I'm sure. I wouldn't scream. When I saw, I was like, man, he better stop. And what's crazy is I didn't even see what was said. I didn't realize it. I saw the picture first, and I'm like, what the hell Karan get hair? Like, what happened?
That's all right.
Oh, okay, because you ain't saying nothing.
I really don't comment on people.
Okay, so just answer the question. Are you for man weave?
I don't comment.
Okay, all right. Just
I'm
checking.
not for no weave.
Hey, so
I'm not even for women's weave.
All right, fair enough.
So here's the fun segment. Since I take a lot of heat from having to reschedule this show or posting pictures and vacationing due to lifestyle.
The Edge and CP Travel Club.
Burdens you bear.
So
the Travel Club.
You're on the show, and you can help them understand why we travel so often and what are we doing when we go away. Like, it's like, what were you all into? You just go away for peace of mind. Like,
okay,
what's the lifestyle?
When did you start traveling, EJ?
Once I got all this free time.
Okay, so it was post-career.
It was all part of the plan, though. Like my one of my goals, or one of the things I wanted to do once I retired, was become a full-time tourist. So I wanted to travel, wanted to see.
But that's international.
Okay.
He's saying international because playing career, it was city to city.
Well, yeah, we're talking post-career.
Okay.
So what's the dopest place you've been to so far?
I don't think it's a place. I think it's a situation. It's like, what do you do when you're at the place?
Okay, so what did you do in a place that was the dopest experience so far?
Yeah, you got to do that.
What? Oh, so this is that kind of travel vacation.
You have to come. If you come, you'll be able to see it.
Like, it's hard to explain.
Are you guys going to give me a media pass? Like, how's this going to work?
It's hard to explain vacationing because sometimes you go and you get the relaxation, the peace of mind. Like, where did we go? We went somewhere and we were sitting on the beach like old farts, but it was the best time. Like,
where was the beach is all I'm asking, Jake. Clearly we're not on their level. I'm asking locations, y'all.
Our memory not that good, or at least mine. Right? Maybe EJ remember.
Guess we need to see your passport to see your stamps.
That's what you have to do.
And then we set out. We had a goal to sit out and do how many trips? Like, what we started is 2 years ago.
Yeah, we tried to do at least, I think it was 10 trips before July.
Were you present for the accident in Mexico? Were you there for that one? When you?
Oh no, he wasn't.
Oh, he wasn't there. Oh, God.
On the four wheelers.
Yes.
You know what, EJ, and this is crazy. EJ won't take any risk. We went swimming with
that doesn't
stingrays. It's no risk involved. stingrays, which it was dangerous at first, but I jump in, I catch the hang of it. And
no risk at all. It was dangerous.
It was dangerous.
No, I'm saying he's no risk at all. So I'm swimming with the stingrays, playing. All of a sudden, once you get the feel of it, it's like, oh, okay, this is safe. Stingray like the size of this table, it's safe. You look like, come on. No, he's still on the boat. He's taking pictures off the boat.
This is what I want to say. What's the benefit? Like, what good could come out of it? I'm like, okay, what thrill could I get to say, you know what, this is what the risk versus reward. There's no comparison. Did you see
Steve Irwin?
Steve Irwin,
the crocodile. You saw what happened to him? And that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. So I'm sitting up and saying, okay, there's no benefit in doing that monkey stuff. You know, like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
So jet skis, yay or nay?
I go jet skis.
Okay, jet skis. Parasail?
Nah.
No. Okay, dolphins. No animals.
Yeah,
dolphins.
Dolphins maybe they're not harmful.
Dolphins, okay. Snorkeling?
Probably not.
Probably not. No. What else you do at the beach? What's that thing you killed yourself on? What, four-wheelers on the beach in the sand? ATV. Okay.
So
all right. What else? What else, Jake?
I don't know.
He won't do roller coasters like.
No roller coasters?
I don't do roller coasters. I understand this. I understand this perspective more than you guys might.
Like I look at the end result after I do all this. You know what? There's no benefit. You know.
Clearly, you're not doing things for Instagram pictures and likes.
Yeah, nah. I'll take his picture.
Do you have Instagram? Do you post?
The cameraman.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Stuff, but I'm not gonna it serves no purpose to me.
So what do you look forward to when y'all are traveling? The food, the people, the culture?
Just the experiences. And just getting away, you know, and when you're getting away, you get a chance to actually see the way that people live. It actually gives you a greater appreciation for where you're at and where you're coming from. And it actually show you that you know what, it's a big world, it's a beautiful world, and you have to get out and experience it.
Only warm weather destinations?
No, I've been to some in the cold, but you know, it's one of those things where I went with Fred T and we went to skiing. Never would do
you're
that again.
Daredevil-ish, skiing, baby slopes.
But serves no purpose. It's like you say, okay, you do all this stuff you walk away from the game, you know, you have injuries, and then all of a sudden you go out and do things that could actually injure you. You know, nah, I want to be at peace. I don't want to be in a training room again. I don't want to be in that
position. So it's like all your whole career has been, you know, at risk.
Yeah, you're at risk. And then now you get a chance to be peaceful. I'd rather be peaceful. I don't want to be, okay, I'm on a ski and I'm not, you know, it's just new to me.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I tear my ACL. I went through the ACL process. You know, that's a long process. And it's like, is it really worth it for that little couple of minutes or that little thrill? Like, nah, you know, I'd rather sit back and chill.
So it's funny that we're having this conversation. Dwayne Wade, he's retiring, and he admitted, I don't know if it's an admission or just a statement to Rachel Nichols that therapy will be a part of his retirement process because, to your point, he's always been an athlete. And so he's going to have to adjust to this new life. As you were adjusting, what do you remember about helping you through that transition, or what was the most challenging part of it? Or did you start becoming a tourist immediately?
Calling me, saying, let's go.
I think that's the thing. When you start looking at year-round, nothing to do, like the off-season, you know, when you get the off-season is it's like the right amount of time. You get enough to do everything you want to do, and then you have this deadline to say, okay, yeah, now it's time to go back to work. But you can get everything out your system. But then the off-season becomes forever. And then you start realizing, hey, there's nobody around because everybody has to go to work. Everybody has destinations. So that's the hardest part. You know, the hardest part is finding people that's in your situation. You know, it's finding people that say, hey, I can up and go, or I can go do this and I can go do that. That's the challenge, you know, because most people have to work, or everybody's not in the situation you're in because you remember you're early 30s. You're early 30s, so you still have that young energy. You're ready to go. You're ready to do this and do that, but you don't have the band with you. You know, it's like I got to travel without the band, and that's the thing that's a challenge.
Well, the biggest challenge we face is ending this show. Shout out to the U from turning a mentor into a friend into a brother. And my brother joining me on episode 33, his football number in high school. Edgerrin James on 26 minutes.
Thanks,
Appreciate
EJ.
you, E.
No problem. I actually wore 33 in youth football one time.
Playing fullback.